Who I haven't told you about is my Studley. Firefighting husband. Yes, y'all. Yeah, girl. My honey is fine. Calendar-worthy firefighter fine, okay? He's a firefighter in Fort Worth, Texas. Shout out to all the first responders. And I love him. If you can't tell, I have a crush on my husband still. We've been married 13 years. He is my best friend. He's a wonderful dad to our 2 little boys. And I adore him. But he gets on my nerves. He gets on my... If you love somebody who gets on your nerves, just take your hand. Let me see your heart emoji. Yeah. Don't you sometimes want to turn it this way and... Thank y'all for those who did that. For those who didn't, either your spouse is sitting next to you or you lie. Because they get on your nerves. Well, here's why my husband gets on mine. Because he's a news junkie. Hook, line, and sinker. Mainliner news junkie. And one day, he was watching news. And he was toggling between Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, CNN. I was like, dude, you are really getting on my nerves. Can't you just pick one channel and watch it? And he was like, no. You know these news channels are biased. And if I watch one, I'm going to get a biased viewpoint of what happened. And I want to know the truth. And the truth is somewhere in the middle. He's fine and he's smart, y'all. But the point of this is our social circles are a lot like our favorite news channels. They're probably biased. Yeah. I mean, if we're honest, we are probably surrounded by people who look and think a lot like us. And if we're really, really honest, our social circles are probably more segregated than they are integrated, okay? And what that does to our psyches, it puts us right smack dab in the middle of a group of people that looks and thinks like us. So then we think, oh, I know I'm right, because everybody around me agrees with me, so I must be right. And even the people that I hang out with on social media, they agree with me too. And if they don't, I just unfriend them. I'm talking to somebody in here. So we're surrounded by people who look and think like us. So what happens then when we meet somebody who has a different perspective? We think, oh, I know you're wrong because I already know I'm right. And we become conditioned to be against somebody who disagrees with us. And it turns into this us versus them situation. Either you agree with me or you're against me. How did we get here? I'll explain how. We now live in this echo chamber. And I love how Bill Bishop summarized this. He's the author of a book called The Big Sort, and it says this. We now live in a giant feedback loop, hearing our own thoughts about what is right and wrong bounce back to us by the television shows we watch, the newspapers and books we read, the blogs we visit, the sermons we hear, and the neighborhoods we live in. It turns into us versus them. There's no room for this in our communities, friends. There's no room for this at work. And I'm going to play a short little video that explains how easy it is for our brains to get seduced into us versus them thinking. Let's watch. Us versus them. White versus black. Men versus women. North versus South, tenants versus staff, HR versus everybody. I'm sorry, y'all. The way we define those us's versus them's, the lines can get drawn in lots of different ways. And what we know, friends, is that how do we position ourselves to be open to different opinions? That's where the innovative ideas come from, right? We can't shut them down. We need to facilitate difference of opinions. We can practice something called intellectual humility. Recognizing that our perspectives, knowing we're in this echo chamber, our perspectives are like Swiss cheese. There's holes in it. We don't have all the answers. And when you acknowledge that you don't have all the answers, it positions you to be open to different opinions. What you believe to be so certain and true, well, it might be wrong. So at least be willing to listen and empathize.